Hi guys, this is Tanya from Flying Dog Studio. Welcome to my Draw With Me series. This is our first installment. So if you caught our previous video that I showed everyone how to do the grid, super, you're ready to go. If not, stop this video, take a look in the description, and check out the link on how to get started with a grid. And if you would prefer to read that instead of watching it, you can go to my blog. I'm going to have that link below as well. If you haven't been to the blog yet and you've already watched this video on how to do the grid, stop this video, go to the blog, because you are going to need the photos that I have downloaded there for you. Whether you are doing this traditionally or you're doing this digitally, you are going to need those reference photos. Just download them to your device. Now, I do have to say, we are doing Gamora, as I said, from Guardians of the Galaxy. I do not own the rights to this. Disney is the one that owns the rights to it. We are simply using her for instructional purposes only. So I would not advise doing this and trying to sell it on the internet. I don't plan to do that either. So we are going to get started. I'm going to show you how to get started now that we have the grid already in place. And I'm going to show you in my layers. You can see it says grid. First thing I'm going to do, if you're doing this digitally, is I'm going to hit the plus sign and I'm going to add a layer. I'm going to go ahead and rename it. If you've watched my other videos, you know I like to name my layers up front. This is my drawing layer. Now, I do plan on doing some shading for this, but not in this particular video. This is simply drawing. So I'm going to lock my grid. Make sure you lock the layers you're not going to be using. I have students that some prefer to do the drawing layer above the grid and some prefer to do it below. Either way, I kind of like to do it above. That way I can see my lines a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead. I've already drawn this out, but I'm going to get you started on it. And then right after we do this introduction, I'm going to have the video of where I drew Gamora out with the grid, and I have that in super slow-mo. So it's still going to be a little too fast for you to follow along. You're going to need to draw and then stop the video, draw, stop the video, stop it as often as you like, come back to it as often as you like. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave this right here. I'm going to choose my color. I'm drawing in black, and I'm going to choose my pencil. I like to use, under the sketching brushes, I like to use Derwent. Now, some of you may see I have a Derwent one down here. This is where I have taken the Derwent pencil that came with Procreate, and I altered it just a bit to give it a more of a thickness, a little bit wider range there. I like them a little bit thicker for some projects. But for this one, we're using the Derwent pencil that came with the program, and I'm doing black. And I just kind of messed around with it somewhere around 30 or so. Whoops. There we go. I've got it on the wrong layer. See, that's why you lock your layers, so you don't accidentally draw on the wrong layer. Just going to test it out. Yeah, that's fine. I like that. All right. We're going to come over to our little wrench, because the pictures I told you to download, you're going to need those right now if you're doing this. And I also downloaded the grid for you, and I have it as a PNG file. So what you can do with that, what that means with PNG, when it is saved, and it's going to look kind of funny on the screen when you take a look at it on my blog, it's going to look like that. And that's the way you save it as a PNG. You turn off the background color, and when you save it to your files, you come over here to share. You can save it as a PNG, and that simply means it doesn't put that white background behind it if you download it on something else. You only have the lines. So that's what I did. So you can actually, if you don't want to go to the trouble making the grid, you can actually download that. This is an 8x10 canvas. That's what we're working with. All of these Draw With Me projects are going to be an 8x10. That way we can keep it consistent and there's not any confusion. But you can download that right into a layer. So there you go. All right, now we're going to come into our little wrench, and I'm going to go to Canvas. And on Canvas, you're going to see there is something here called Reference. You're going to turn that on. And when you do, it's going to bring up a little thing here that's the first thing it brings up is actually the canvas and what we want, and that's going to bring up what you have on the canvas right now. We don't want that. We want to hit the middle one, Image, and then we can clear import. We're importing because we don't have an image on here yet. I'm going to hit import, and it brings up my photos, and there we go. There she is. This is one of the photos that I have for you to download. And as you can see, as we zoom in, she's under the grid. So that's how I got her ready. I simply came over here after my grid was up, and I put Gamora under it, and then I saved that as a JPEG, and then I'm all ready to go to draw over here. So when we're drawing with a grid, I'm going to just zoom in. We draw what is in each little square. So I have 1, 2, 3. Her hair starts in the third little square. I guess I shouldn't say square. I guess I should say rectangle. They're rectangles. We're going to start in this one right here. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the fourth little square. Some people like to make these bigger. You can drag it. You can make it a little bigger if you want to. But just so you can see the whole screen, I'm going to leave her small and kind of zoom in here. So this is the one I'm starting in right there. I'm going to make sure I'm on the correct layer. I am. And you want to take a look at where the line starts. So I see that her hair is about, let me tap that again. That always makes me angry about this. If I just barely tap it, that comes back. Happens to me all the time. All right, it's a little bit below the halfway line. So I'm going to start about right in here, and then I'm going to move my hand so you guys can see. And you'll be able to see, I start, and then I try to do just a solid line. I might start sketchy on some things and then get solid on others. And the trick to doing contour drawing is to look more at your reference photo and less at what you're drawing here. And the reason I like to draw this ahead of time for you guys instead of doing it with you like this is because I am painfully slow. I will go back and erase because I'm a perfectionist. I hate it that I am, but I am. So I'm gonna come back this way now. I've sketched this in. I kind of know where I want things to be. And then I'm coming around and I'm drawing more hair. Coming over the top. See, I've messed that up, so I'm just going to come to my eraser. I'm not going to back it out because I'm trying not to lift my pencil up as much. I did here to get a start. I kind of want to get a feel for it. And then I just start drawing. So then we go. And I may not be exactly where I'm supposed to be. When I am sitting back from this and looking over it kind of from an angle, I like to draw where my face is right up over it. You guys can't see me. I wear glasses. I have to wear reading glasses because without it, I can't see any of this at all. So I do like to hold it like right up in front of me when I draw. So at this angle, I really can't tell exactly what I'm doing. So, but I think you'll get the idea of what I'm doing here. So there we go. That's how we get started. So whatever is here, there we go. I want to match it over here. If you mess up, don't worry about it. Just erase and go back again. If you are working in traditional art on this one, remember to do this super duper lightly. You don't want to go hard. You don't want to go hard on that grid. Don't bear down hard. It doesn't matter if you want to use a 2H, a 4B, whatever you're comfortable drawing with. If you're doing it traditionally, do that. If you're doing this digitally, if you don't want to use Derwent, you don't have to use Derwent. If you like Procreate, if you'd rather draw with inking, you can do that. I would make certain that my lines are a different color, if you're drawing your own lines, a different color than your pencil line that you're drawing with, or ink line that you're drawing with if you're doing it digitally. That just kind of helps you. If you're doing it traditionally, I mean, it's going to be pencil. It's going to be graphite either way. Don't draw this in a colored pencil because colored pencil doesn't erase. Once you put colored pencil on the paper, it's pretty much there. So don't do that in colored pencil. Do it in pencil, but if you're doing it digitally, I would play around with the colors, see what works best for you. Something else you can do if you're doing this digitally that you can't do traditionally, if you're working along, and I draw super lightly, even when I'm working on here, I draw draw super lightly. You can come back and you will notice this in the video that things suddenly get darker. That's because you can duplicate a layer and it makes that darker. And you can duplicate that all day. There we go. Just kind of merge them together and that makes your lines darker. So that is the intro to it. Remember, if you have any questions, drop them down below in the comments and I will get back with you. I'm happy to help out. And like I said, don't forget to go over and download these pictures. You don't have to download this. You can just draw along with me, but it may make it easier if you're stopping the video and taking a look. You can draw lines on your own. You can say, okay, well, she didn't get this exactly where I would have put it, so maybe I'm going to move it up or down. So I would download this, if I were you, on my own, just to take a look back and forth. Plus, you may want to draw and then see what I've done to see if it compares to yours. However you learn best, that's what you need to do. That's the right way. But thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we're going to have more in these in the series. So if you have some ideas of what you would like to draw, you can put those in the comments as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this process.